senseless violence is, you know, it serves the soul, and it serves the soul, and it gets you, you know, to want to stand up and try to, you know, have your voice heard and make a difference. So what I did is I just prepared a poem. I prepared a poem. I consider myself a writer. All right. This poem is called 4 Legends and 30 Bullets. Come on, I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor, and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a Negro. Pull the trigger, kill a nigga, he's a hero. Give crack to the kids, who the hell cares? One less hungry mouth on the welfare. First ship them dope, let them deal the brothers, give them guns, step back, watch them kill each other. It's time to fight back, that's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark, now Huey's dead. I got love for my brother, but we can never go nowhere unless we share with each other. We gotta start making changes. Learn to see me as a brother instead of 2 distant strangers. And that's how it's supposed to be. How can the devil take a brother if he's close to me? I'd love to go back to when we played as kids, but things changed, and that's the way it is. Words of a legend. The tremendously talented yet deeply troubled genius who in the eyes of our people was a stark reflection of the struggle. A lion whisked out of his natural element, yet still deeply loyal to the jungle. How tragic that fame or fortune could save him from the wrath of street justice. The vicious cycle of violence, and the vicious cycle of violence that transcends generations. With thug life literally etched into his skin, he embodied the hustlers, the fiends, the dozens of lost children seen littering the inner city streets all across this our great country. So it was no mystery that this painfully poetic and fierce flow music resonated in the hearts of both sinners and the righteous men behind the pulpit. His mother had been a Black Panther with ties to many prominent activists. Though she had experienced her own struggles, she too was true to the people. The problem is that in our relentless pursuit of success and happiness, we become blinded by devices and victim to our suppressed emotions. Pride, anger, and greed fester in the hearts of men, almost always leading to a spontaneous act of violence. In the end, Pac was deeply conflicted by the demons of his past and the peace he just couldn't seem to achieve in the present. But flying bullets have no sense of preference or conscience, landing their target in a moment's notice. Call it God's vengeance or call it destiny, but undoubtedly, death is the only component of life that's surely guaranteed. On Tupac's Day of Reckoning, the taking of life in response to disagreement or settling of street beef became eerily real to the sheltered patrons of suburbia who wouldn't be caught dead in these inner city streets. It was as if people actually believed that his celebrity could somehow save him from the systemic evils that still plague our communities. And just a few years later, we've seen the same saga play out in the life of Biggie. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. We used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wonder why Christmas missed us. Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne when we thirsty. I've seen body after body in our mayor, Giuliani ain't trying to see no black man turn into John Gotti. My daughter used a potty, so she older now. Educated street knowledge, I'm a molder now. It don't make sense going to heaven with the goody goodies, dressed in all white. I like black Tims and black hoodies. It was rhymes like these that flaunted Christopher Wallace's masterful ability to tell a story. He was the epitome of rags to riches, risen from the pit of poverty to the peak of glamour and glory. Led by pioneers like Big, the culture of hip-hop was becoming synonymous with the plight of Black life around the planet. Nearly obliterated by the crack and AIDS epidemic of the 80s and 90s, the prosperous and hardworking Black communities of the 50s and 60s became devastated. They became the devastated Black ghettos plagued with devastation and violence. And the music mirrored these harsh realities perfectly. While intellectuals and politicians argued that artists should be held accountable for the explicit glorification of violence in their lyrics, gangsta rap was fattening the pockets of the elite behind the scenes, exploiting the artists and capitalizing on the fact that they weren't business savvy. Sadly, we see this same game played out today in the music industry. Our Black and brown youth are pressure-beaten diamonds, talented and beautiful, yet extremely vulnerable, victim to generational curses, existing in environments of miseducation, economic hardship, drug addiction, mental illness, mass incarceration, racial discrimination, and an ongoing list of forces that threaten their potential and promise. It creates a climate prone to premature death and violence. So can violence even be prevented? Is it ever truly warranted? It's that very subject, violence, that represents the greatest sense of ideologic opposition between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, two of the most brilliant Black minds of our time. While they did ultimately share a collective dream of progressive, thriving, and equal Black societies, the two disagreed strongly on the method of accomplishing it under the oppressive cloud of the Jim Crow system of white supremacy. True to his Christian Baptist faith, Dr. Martin Luther King preached the nonviolent concept cited in biblical convictions such as turning the other cheek, granting forgiveness to your enemies, and enduring great suffering here on earth while keeping faith that you'll receive your reward in heaven once the Lord permits you to pass those gates. Malcolm, on the other hand, believed that organized violence was key. His logic pointed to the reality that the enemy had no respect or compassion for the marchers' effort to promote peace while protesting. He stressed the first and foremost necessity to defend the women, children, and elderly, seeing it foolish to stand defenseless against deadly crowds of racist bigots, all simmering with teeth and armed to the teeth. Because he firmly believed that all races were inherently incapable of seeing their humanity, Malcolm ridiculed Martin's delusion of integrating and fueled his followers with the integrity of Black pride and supremacy. Both men, arguments and ideologies aside, are legends in their own right. They both inspired hope and change in the hearts of people who love them. In both life and the tragic assassinations, just like Pac and Biggie, they became an even clearer reflection of the world's uncanny inclination to destruction and violence. 4 legends, 30 bullets between them. It's imperative that we redirect the focus from fame and fortune to self-preservation. Put down the guns and pick up a book instead. Pick up your head and smile with confidence. Pick up a pen, write and relieve it. Pick up a mic and release those toxic emotions. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, and a bullet has no sense of preference or conscience when it seeks its target. Stop the violence. Yeah. I didn't realize how long that was when I was writing. And so that was a poem that I put together. As you can probably tell, I love to read. Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, and even younger activists like Tupac and Biggie were very inspiring to me. And I think that we can all relate to them in some way. We can all relate to the struggle. All of us here have some sort of relation or association to a lot of the men who lost their lives, men and women who lost their lives as a result of the violence recently. So I just think that the most important thing overall is that we all come together and unite in the fight to stop the violence. And so the last thing that I want to do is just read off the names of some of the victims that I know personally and that are related to a lot of my relatives and friends in Austin as well. You'll probably know some of these names, just so that we can give a moment of silence in their remembrance and honor the men and women who lost their lives. If you guys want to, she's getting the balloons. After we recite the names and do a moment of silence, we'll go ahead and release the balloons. Rochelle, do you want me to go ahead and read off the names now? Okay. Byron Carter, Nathan Sanders, Kevin Brown, David Joseph, Jesse Owens, Amid Bradley, Sophia King, Larry Jackson, Quentin Carter, Justin Mendez, Eric Sorrells, Marcus Knotts, Michael Blaylock, Damon Rittenhouse, LaRon Williams, Jarrell King, Trevon Darnell Fox, Alfred Matthews, Nick Jarman, Timothy Felder, Julius Collins Jr., Ramon Holder, Carol Ann Harris, Amy Barlow, Harold Robinson, Brandon Grant, Larry Prosser, Aaron Tasby, Jamad White, Ante Knotts, Damian Perry, Zach Hillard, Michael Berry, Rula Bailey, Mark Franks, Gerald Williams, and LaQuince Tomlin. Let's give a moment of silence and remembrance for these names. May their souls rest in peace, and may you have good memories of them in your heart. We can release the balloons. The wind is not a get them around the clock. All right, I'm going to open up the mic to anyone else who would like to
Can I?
say something. Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I think I've probably spoken to each of y'all individually already, and I didn't come here prepared necessarily to speak, but I think the fact that we've got a community in Austin that wants to be engaged, that wants to work together, that wants to stop the violence. We are seeing the price of life become so cheap in society now. We are seeing people being willing to be violent towards each other for the most minuscule things, and